rid of my freckles. My freckles are fading over the years anyway. Then I use vitamin C. I'm currently using 2. I'm still a micellar water girl and I still don't rinse it off and I have no issues with that. And at the moment, aging, and there is emerging evidence for peptides. Morning you guys, it's Karen and I wanted to come and do an updated skincare routine for you, and at 46 this is my anti-aging skincare routine. So for those of you that may be new, my skin is combination, I would say. It is oily T-zone, but it can also be dry and dehydrated. A lot of the dryness comes from using, you know, retin-A type products, but also I'm on medication for hormone imbalance. So I used to have very, very oily skin, like maximum oily skin. Now I feel like it's more on the dry dehydrated side, but like I said, with an oily T-zone. So I feel like I have experienced the spectrum of skin types. The anti-aging issues I'm dealing with are hooded eyes is my #1 concern. Wrinkles, good old wrinkles. I've got a lot of fine lines around here and then lines underneath my eyes. As I've said before, the lighting does make it look like I have less issues than if you saw me in real life. It would probably add 10 years if you saw me in real life. Nose to mouth lines, I've got large pores, I've got some issues with a little bit of texture on my sort of neck and chest area. These lines are just genetic, they're not, they show a bit more with my age simply because I've put on weight, but they're actually not age lines, but the texture issue is the issues that I don't have dark circles or under eye bags, although I am starting to see a little bit of under eye bags more recently. You guys have agreed with me when I changed over to not using concealer, which was a couple of months ago, that I don't necessarily have any dark circles, so I don't have any concealer on, but I will talk about the things that have evidence as working for dark circles, under eye bags. So those are my issues. I'll talk you through my skincare routine. I've got morning routine and alternate night evening routine, so 2 evening routines, and then I'll talk through the specific issues and what is good for them, and why I'm using the products I'm using. So in the morning, it's pretty simple for me. I'm still a micellar water girl and I still don't rinse it off and I have no issues with that. The one that I love is the Yester Cucumbers micellar water, and I just use this in the morning on a cotton pad over my eyes and then one swipe over my face, and it always kind of feels like it wakens me up, you know, especially over my eyes. So love that. Then I use vitamin C. I'm currently using 2. This one is the Regena C20 Serum by Face Theory. This one is the vitamin C 30% in silicone by the Inkey List. The reason I'm using 2 of these, this one is a derivative, so it's a vitamin C derivative, whereas this one is actual ascorbic acid, albeit in silicone, so I don't know how much will get through the skin, but I'm sort of using 2 of them because this one feels much nicer to put all over the face, and this one I use kind of in my T-zone. So vitamin C, and I follow that up by using an SPF. This is the zinc from the Inkey List that I'm currently trying to use up, but I'll use any kind of SPF 30. I do prefer mineral sunscreens. This one is mineral, obviously, with it being zinc. The only other thing I occasionally have in my morning routine is if I'm using an SPF that makes my skin feel tight, I'll use something like the amino acids from The Ordinary or any kind of oil underneath. And also I sometimes add in the resveratrol and ferulic acid from The Ordinary or the EUK 134 from The Ordinary, but they're not essential to my routine. Oh, there's one other kind of extra step, which is this. This is the Superoxide Dismutase Saccharide Mist from Niod. I've got this and I've got another spray, which is the Nip Plus Fab Hydrate Spray. I enjoy both of these. They just are really refreshing, but I'm not using them for a specific skincare reason at the moment. I need to investigate this ingredient, this product, and do a review for you, but I am using this immediately after toning. There are 2 products that are in both night routines. The first one is this is a Tretinoin cream, 0.1% by ABH. I'm using this for my hooded eye flooding plan, or Tretinoin flooding plan, and so I've got a whole video on my progress with that, so I'll link those for you and you can find out what that's all about. But I basically just put it above my eyebrow there and underneath and a tiny little bit in the middle, so that happens every night. And I've also been trying to use this eye cream every night, and I don't usually have an eye cream in my routine, but this is the Alex Steiner Sleep Spa Every Night Eye Mask, and it's kind of like an eye gel, and so I've been using that every evening so that I can use it up and then make a decision at the end of it as to whether I think that's essential or not. So night one, the first product I want to use after toning is niacin. I sometimes use, it's called Freederm Gel in a little tube, which is pure niacin, but it does have a little bit of alcohol in it, so it's not, I've still not found my ideal niacin product. Most of the ones I've tried pill up on my skin, you know, they ball up. The one I'm currently using is this. This is the CeraC Pore Reducing Toner by Face Theory. I tried using this in a cotton wool pad, it just doesn't work. So I've been using a pump in my hand, and it's very, very liquidy, but it does work better that way. But I am going to try and spray it and see if that works as well. But this isn't concentrated niacin, but it has niacin in it. Then if I'm not using that, I might use something like this. This is the Niacinamide Plus Retinol by QRX Labs, because this first night is niacin, retinol, oil, night cream. So it's a 4-step routine. And so this would cover both of those, the niacin and the retinol. I can't use this every single night, or maybe even every other night. I use this about every 4 nights, just because it is quite strong, and I found that my skin reacts to it. So niacin, then retinol, unless I'm using a combined product such as that. And the retinols I'm currently using or trying to use up are the retinol from the Inkey list. This is absolutely fine. It's just a cream, just a retinol cream, and this is fine. I'm also using the Super Retinol by Beauty Pie. These are not, I'll just take whichever one I fancy. They're all, I've literally got a big old skincare bag. I'd probably go for this one because I'm trying to use the Inkey list products up so I can do an empties for you. And then this, and then the Face Theory one. But this is the Beauty Pie one. This is probably my favourite out of these 3 or 4 retinols if you include the QRX. It just feels the most luxurious, if you like. Or I will use the Regena Calm Serum by Face Theory. This has retinol in it, but several other things as well. And this is probably the most soothing feeling. You know, it feels like a real hydrating type of serum going on the skin. So niacin, retinol, followed by some kind of oil. At the moment I'm using the Inkey rosehip oil, love rosehip oil, and then this is the Native Botanicals cacao oil. I've also really been enjoying the cacao oil, so I'll use one or other of these and then follow that with my night cream. And at the moment I'm using the Alex Steiner, these two. One is Serum and Cream Moisturiser Pump and Glow, one is the Maximum Moisture Lock in Everyday Moisture. I do sometimes put oils on top of night creams, because if you put an oil on first, you're not going to get any benefits from creams such as these. But these, to me, are basic night creams, if you like. And so I'm putting them on really just to stop my face feeling greasy from the oil and to sort of lock in that oil. Whereas if I wanted to use another night cream, which in my second night I was going to show you this one, which is the Face Theory Relaxing Night Cream, and it has other ingredients in it that I want my skin to benefit from, I might well put that on first and then put an oil on top, or mix a drop of oil in with it, something like that. But for these, I feel that they are just basic creams, but they lock that moisture in from the oil. So night 2 is about acids, so I will tone and then I will use something like this. This is the Lactic Acid 10% from The Ordinary. This is my favourite one to use. I love the scent of it. It smells like celery to me, and I love the feel of it, and it always gets rid of like little dry flaky bits for me. But it will be something like this, or a glycolic acid toner, the one from The Ordinary. The alpha lipoic acid, I use that less regularly because it's very, very potent, and I would maybe mix that in with another serum or a moisturiser or something. I've used Paula's Choice toners. I don't personally get on with salicylic acid toners. I don't like the feel of them, but that's another acid that would be good to use at this stage. And azelaic acid, I absolutely adore azelaic acid. The one from The Ordinary, I just think it feels lovely on the skin. So that's another one I would use at this stage. But at the moment I'm using the lactic acid 10% plus hyaluronic acid is in there. I then wait, after using an acid, I wait for about 10 minutes and just kind of let it do its thing. And then I will follow it with either a serum or an oil, and then a night cream, and that's it. So the serum I'm using at the moment is this It's Skin gel effector, and it's really nice. It's just got a lot of moisturizing ingredients in. It feels really soothing. It's a beautiful product to put on after using an acid where you may have, you know, sensitized your skin a little bit and left it kind of open. So something like that, or just one of the other oils I mentioned, like the cacao or the rosehip, and then follow that with a night cream. So this is the Face Theory Relaxing Night Cream. I know there's a lot of products there, but honestly it is really simple. So in the morning it's cleanse, vitamin C and SPF, occasionally adding in resveratrol and ferulic acid or EUK as a kind of bonus if you like. Evening is night 1, niacin, retinol, oil, night cream, oil or serum, and then night cream. Night 2 is acid, wait 10 minutes, oil or serum, night cream, and that's it. Actually, now we're going on to talk about the issues and what is proven for them. I would say that there are 3 components to anti-aging that are proven. That is sun protection factor. So wearing a sun protection cream every day, regardless of the weather and regardless of whether it's summer or winter, etc. The second thing I would say is good hydration. Skin that is hydrated, you know, that you reduce the water loss from your skin will help with aging, and I think it's a very basic one that sometimes people don't address that. You know, they might reach for the retinol products but not make sure their skin is properly hydrated. So SPF, hydration, and then some form of vitamin A. So that would be retinol or tretinoin, retin A, etc. I think those 3 components are the ones that have all of the evidence behind them, and if you had to do just 3 things, I would say sun protection, some form of vitamin A, and make sure you have good hydration. To a lesser extent, there is some evidence behind vitamin C and niacin for some areas of aging, and there is emerging evidence for peptides, but it's very biased evidence that's out there for peptides. It's not something that I particularly think is essential to a routine, but neither do I think it will do any harm, because they do moisturize, they are humectants. Oh, acids are another thing. I would say acids are between, you've got tretinoin, good SPF and good hydration, and then you've got, you know, vitamin C and niacin, but also acids, they have some good evidence behind them for some improvement. So let's talk about the issues. Let's start with hooded eyes, and I have used tretinoin on my eyes for about 4 months now in a flooding plan, which, like I said, is in another video, and it hasn't personally worked for me, but I wouldn't let that put you off, because it is proven to work for so many aging issues such as texture, wrinkles, sagging skin, so it's proven to lift. Did I say texture, large pores, pigmentation? Literally, tretinoin or retinol, to a lesser extent, works on every area of aging skin. Not only that, that's where the research is at, but not only that, people on YouTube I have seen have great results. You know, really honest YouTubers that have shown us the progress and the photos have had really great results with using Retin A products around their eyes. Near their eyes, not necessarily, you know, not on their eyes. It maybe didn't work for me because I have a connective tissue disorder, and so, like I said, the evidence is there both from people using it and also from the actual research. So my advice is for hooded eyes is really just some kind of vitamin A product, either retinol or tretinoin if you can afford it, and good hydration. It's really important that you keep the area hydrated. Aside from that, there isn't really any skincare that I would recommend. There has, of course, been that Olay retinol eye cream. I did trial that and do a review video and before and after pictures, and didn't find that it did anything for me, but I know people have had results with it. Same story for the number 7 line corrector, you know, the one that's in like a needle, looks like a needle. I did a video and before and afters with that pretty quickly, but didn't find any results from that at all. Yeah, that's it really for hooded eyes. Unfortunately, there are a lot of other non-skincare things that could help. I know I would recommend face yoga. It's something that I did years ago actually, when I didn't have so many responsibilities, and it's something that I always intend to do but never remember to do. But face yoga I think would have really good results. I don't know how dramatic, but I think that that would be something to try if you have hooded eyes. For me, as you may know, I'm having the eyelid surgery done in about 3 weeks' time, so I'm really excited about that, because for me the tretinoin hasn't worked, maybe related to the Ehlers-Danlos loss. I do keep my eyes very well hydrated, and I just have been too forgetful or lazy maybe to do the face yoga. And I have had, I should say, I did try the Plexiplasma treatment. For me, it worked at the time. So I went through 3 treatments, 6 weeks apart, and it seemed to tighten up the skin, but almost as soon as I was healed, the effect was gone. So that's not something I would recommend. And I would like to look into other treatments for you guys and talk about that in future videos. And I'll also, although I'm having the excess skin removed, I also need to work on the texture of my skin. So I will be still working on trying things around my eyes to see what works for the texture. Large pores. I do have large pores when I don't use vitamin C, and vitamin C isn't something very often talked about for large pores, and I've never even seen it claimed that it actually works on pores. But for me it has worked miracles, really, because I did have very, very visible pores here until I started using the ordinary 30% vitamin C in silicone. Now a lot of people will say it's the silicone disguising the pores, and as soon as you remove it they will no longer disguise it, but it has a longer term effect on me. The effect continued even when I stopped using the 30% in silicone for a while. I can't say that I've noticed it specifically with other vitamin C's, but now that I'm using that one from the Inkey, I have the same result. If you have large pores, just from my personal experience, I would say give vitamin C a go. But the things that have the evidence behind them, if you like, are actually acids. And a lot of people will think about niacin being the thing that works on pores, but even Paula Biguan, who is the owner of Paula's Choice, she still has issues with large pores, and so niacin has not worked for her, despite it being the #1 thing that people think of for pores. I don't think that it's ineffective. I think that niacin is something that works to strengthen your skin. There is evidence to show that it strengthens the barrier of your skin. And so that's why I include niacin in my skincare routine, is to strengthen my skin. That, you know, the stronger it is, the less damage it will get from environmental factors, etc. And it also helps when you are using any kind of vitamin A products, so retinols, etc. But for pores, I have never found it to do anything. But like I said, there's no harm having it in the routine. But so if you have large pores, I would recommend using niacin, using vitamin C, and using some kind of acids. So acids have been shown to work particularly on people with oily or acne prone skin, because what they do is unclog the pores. Salicylic acid is best if you've got acne prone skin or oily skin. Then there's lactic acid if you've got dry skin, mandelic acid if you've got sensitive skin, and then there are others like glycolic acid, and there's a few others like PHAs coming out on the market, such as lactobionic acid, which are again for sensitive skin, I would say, and they're less effective than the well-known ones such as lactic and glycolic, etc. What are we on to? Wrinkles, the beloved wrinkles. I think wrinkles is something we all have. The #1 for this again is tretinoin. It is the one that is proven for pretty much everything to do with aging skin is covered by tretinoin, and vitamin A is retinol, and that is basically a weaker version of tretinoin. So if you can afford it, like I said, get the tretinoin, and that will cover texture, pores, uneven skin tone, pigmentation, wrinkles, fine lines, you know, literally everything you can think of should be helped by that, albeit a slow process. It's not a quick fix. It's not something that you'll see a result in a couple of weeks. Something else for wrinkles as well, though, is acids, and it's more for fine lines than deep wrinkles, but there is quite a bit of research showing that acids of all kinds, actually, and there's not specifically one, work on fine lines. Most of the time it's in the form of having a peel, having a chemical peel at a salon, but there is also evidence that it does slowly improve fine lines using them regularly, which is one of the reasons I have the lactic acid in my routine. That and the fact that it takes away any dry patches for me, but it is something I like to have in my routine as a kind of battle against the fine lines. Hydration is something else that is of course important for wrinkles, which is why I suppose I introduced oils into my routine. With having dry skin, I just did not want my skin to be dry, because nice, plump, moist skin will not only look younger, but it will stop water escaping from your skin and therefore prevent further damage, and it just looks healthier. So hydration, so for wrinkles, tretinoin, acids and hydration, or retinol, acids and hydration. Dark circles and under eye bags, there is not an awful lot in the terms of skincare that has any evidence behind it, other than there is a study showing that alpha lipoic acid is very beneficial to both dark circles and under eye bags. The only problem with that research is it's kind of attached to a company, but also it uses a very high level. I don't know how anybody's skin would tolerate that, because I think it was a 5%, but I'm not 100% sure. But it was using it twice a day. But the one from The Ordinary that I used recommends only using it twice a week. And you have to stay away from windows. It's a very unstable product. I actually bought 2 of them because one of them did go off. And certainly when I used a little bit of that, I had quite a strong reaction to it, so I have to be very, very careful using it. So I can't imagine using it twice a day near my eyes, but it is something I'm going to think about, maybe buying some alpha lipoic acid products. So Dr. Perricone, for example, does a line of alpha lipoic acid products that are supposed to be very, very useful, but they're also very expensive. But yeah, alpha lipoic acid is really the only thing that has any evidence behind it for dark circles and under eye bags. But I would say that there's a lot you can do outside of skincare. I've done videos separately on those 2 items, so I'll link those for you. But also, people have had results from using the Olay Retinol eye cream. I did a video on that and didn't see any results, but then I wasn't testing it for dark circles and under eye bags. It's not something I specifically suffer with, but I know people have had results with that. Finally, there's pigmentation. I don't have issues with pigmentation, which I suppose is not really true, because I've got freckles and freckles are just pigmentation, but I'm not specifically trying to get rid of my freckles. My freckles are fading over the years anyway, you know, they've faded just with the passage of time. But what I should say is, in my Tretinoin before and after video, somebody actually pointed out that they called it an age spot. These are just freckles, but they said that they had faded around this area with using Tretinoin. And so again, Tretinoin, Retin A, retinol, etc. is a great product to use if you have any kind of pigmentation issues. Vitamin C is something else that is really good. That's a skin brightener, so that definitely helps, I think, with dull skin or uneven skin tone. Vitamin C, a good vitamin C, is another good thing to include in your routine. My routine includes vitamin C because it's something that I think has some evidence as benefiting the skin, helping with sunscreens, being an antioxidant, albeit very limited evidence, but there is some evidence. But like I said, I find it to work on my pores, and so that's why it's in my routine. But pigmentation, tretinoin, vitamin C, and finally, I would say acids. Seriously consider, if you have issues with pigmentation like melasma, post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation, anything like that, consider having a chemical peel, because that's where I found the most evidence. And it wasn't in any one particular acid. There was one that was a mix of lactic and mandelic acid. There was one that was mandelic acid and salicylic acid, but these chemical peels, so the really high level powerful peels, seem to produce the best results rather than just using it at home. Using it at home will help you, but obviously it'll be a much slower process. So that's all of the issues pretty much, isn't it? I mean, there are other things like milia, but again, it would be tretinoin that I would recommend, and I'm sure there's other things that I haven't thought of, but if I had to just use one anti-aging product aside from SPF and hydration, I would use tretinoin. I'm pretty happy with my skin for my age. You know, for 46 years old, I don't think my skin looks too bad. I am acne prone. I should have said that at the beginning, really, that all of these products I use, you know, the oils, etc., don't aggravate my acne at all. I currently have a really painful lump there and also one on my head, and that is not from skincare. That is from eating the wrong things. I know that when I eat too many carbs or sugar, especially if I don't accompany it with protein, I get lumps. So that's how it works for me. That's everything. If you have any questions, feel free to ask, but I will link a whole bunch of videos for you in the description that may already answer those questions. So I'll link ones on which products that you can use together, like, you know, can you use acids with niacin, or can you use acids with retinol, etc, etc. My makeup is, this foundation is the Bare Minerals Bare Pro in 09. On my eyes is just, I don't even know which shadows I use, it's just matte shadows. You guys are always asking me to do a matte eye look, so I thought I will. It's just a cream shadow all over my eyes and then just a crease colour, that's literally it. On my cheeks is blush by CYO in Strong Words, and then this lipstick is by Sleek. It's a metallic one called Anodised Ruby, love it. Earrings from River Island, top from Marks and Spencer's, necklace from Topshop. That's everything. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll speak to you again soon.